Can you guess where I am? It looks old. Guess what? I am at Genesee Country Village and Museum, and it is wintertime. And more importantly, it is Yuletide in the country. I am here to learn all about Christmas in the 19th century. You can see that they have it decorated so beautifully for Christmas time, for Yuletide in the country. The important thing to know about Genesee Country Village and Museum, they only have certain events going on at this time of year, especially before Christmas. Yuletide in the country are special tours that you can take all around the village, and it's a fantastic time. And you can even sign up for a dinner that is phenomenal. I have had it. Wonderful food. But in the early winter months, January, February, March, they are usually closed except for certain events that you can sign up for. But you have to check about that online. I want you to come with me into some of the houses, and we're going to learn all about Yuletide in the country at Genesee Country Village and Museum. I am here at the McKay House at Genesee Country Village and Museum, and I am with Chris, who is a historical interpreter. That's the correct term to say. And Chris knows all about Christmas trees in the 19th century. Chris, I just heard your little talk to some school groups that you had here, and you were talking about how the Christmas tree originated in Germany. I did not know that it really began more in the 15th century. Was that correct?
The 1500s.
1500s,
yes.
so
yes.
the 16th century.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what can you tell us about that? That was a really neat story.
At the time, the German people were performing a play in honor of the feast of Adam and Eve, which happens to be December 24th.
Oh.
So this was a public presentation, and in order to perform their play, they needed a prop of an apple tree. And of course, we know apple trees are leafless and appleless this time of year. So they would bring in an evergreen tree and tie apples to it. So apples are our very first Christmas decoration.
Oh, how appropriate for Western New York State, where we have a lot of apples and a lot of apple trees. Wonderful. So that became a tradition in Germany.
That's right. That it was amusing to the people. They enjoyed these so much that they began bringing them into their own homes. And each individual home would then have their own tree.
Which, in a sense, what you were telling the kids that were in here before, it is strange to bring a live tree, when you think about it, into your home. We know that tradition kind of shifted to England. Is that
right?
Correct?
Yes. Well, it certainly has had a long history, and it is very involved and has evolved over many centuries. But we can go to the 1700s when it started to catch on in England a little bit. But at that time, most folks that had trees would have a little tabletop tree for each member of the family. And every member would have their own presents under their own tree.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. And I mentioned that one of the first decorations would have been apples. But of course, food was popular as a decoration. We've heard of gingerbread and shortbread that were popular at Christmas time. They would have been used. So again, in the 1700s, the trees were so laden with dried fruits and nuts and sweets, which were very precious and delicate, all kinds of food items, that they were called sweet trees for a while. And that was the big climax to the Christmas season, is that children could finally eat everything that they were able to get off the tree.
Then what happened in the Victorian era with Queen Victoria? I know there's a story there that you can tell us.
Well, the tree was still obscure. in most of Europe, except in Germany, until Queen Victoria married Prince Albert. He was from Germany. So, of course, when he came to the castle, he brought his own Christmas traditions with him. Eventually, there was an illustration published in a very popular magazine called Ladies' Godey's Book. Oh. And it was read both in Europe and in America. And this illustration was of Prince Albert, Queen Victoria, the children in front of this beautifully ornamented tree. Oh. Now, when everybody read that, that's when this tree really started to catch on. More and more people saw that. And because Queen Victoria was popular and royalty, people wanted to emulate her, be very much like her.
And this would have been the mid-1800s.
That's correct, right,
okay.
Yes.
And so that spread to the colonies, or to the United States at that time,
right,
in the
yes.
1800s.
Yes. So, of course, that again, when the German immigrants came to America, and many of the Hessian soldiers also fought in the Revolutionary War. And as Christmas time came around, the soldiers would bring trees into their barracks. Many of the German immigrants settled in Pennsylvania, and they would bring their trees into their home. And very rare in America in the early part of the 19th century. In fact, people didn't celebrate Christmas at all.
Wow.
It was not considered proper to do so because it wasn't in the Bible.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a governor in Massachusetts who banned celebrating Christmas and levied fines for having Christmas decorations up for a time. So that's how much folks were against it being considered improper.
Wow. Oh my. How did we get from some apples on a tree or sweets and food on the tree to what we see here? We have some fantastic decorations and also a beautifully decorated tree back here. What can you tell us about that?
Start with the Victorian people. They loved decoration and they loved nature. So most of the time they would decorate their trees with things that they could make or things found that they could change into a decoration. So it might be sewing a little pair of mittens.
Oh, look at that.
Or using scraps of paper. That was also rare to have this color process, but they'd save the paper and make Christmas decorations with that.
Oh.
So the Victorians spent so much time making their Christmas decorations, because now they have these fabulous floored ceiling trees, that they would have to start in July.
Oh my!
And the origin of our phrase, Christmas in July.
Oh, is that where we learn something new every day. Oh, and now I had read too that there was sometimes a little bit of a rebellion against store-bought decorations. That there was a time when people really enjoyed the homemade things, but we do know that store-bought decorations became popular.
Yes.
So what can you tell us about that?
Well, everything changes over time. So one of our most popular ornaments today, of course, are the glass balls. That also had its origin in Germany and in the section called Thuringia. And they, at the time, were hand-blown and made these beautiful glass ornaments. Eventually, they were exported to America. And one of the first places that sold them in America was the Woolworth store, which many of us do still remember.
Yes, I remember the Woolworth store.
But you're right, most things were handmade. And part of it was that folks couldn't afford to make things. They would just find things around the house or make things.
Well, I see some candles on the tree back here. What can you tell us about the candles? And I see some tin work. That's beautiful.
We happen to have this tree decorated with all tin ornaments. And of course, tin has been around since before Roman times. So it was considered a very valuable metal, and it keeps its shine.
Yeah.
So they would have been used for that.
Oh, so it would have glistened in the candlelight.
That's right, yes.
Yeah. Now, when did they start using candles on a tree?
There's a legend, a story that goes with the candles on the tree, and it starts with Martin Luther,
Oh.
great Protestant reformist in the 1500s. The story is that he was coming home from church services on Christmas Eve. He looked up into the beautiful starlit sky, and he felt that it was like the Christ child shining, the light of the Christ child shining down onto earth. And it inspired him. He was awed by that, went home, told his family, and supposedly that's how we came to have candles or lights on our trees.
Oh, of course, we'd want to be careful to put the candles out when we go to bed.
That's right, yes.
Don't want to leave those
Yes,
on.
folks back then, they had an idea, and again, the magazines of the day would give the housewives advice on how not to have a fire.
Oh.
So they would keep buckets of sand or water or wet sponges in the vicinity of the tree, so that in the event of a fire, it could really quickly be put out.
And yeah, the tin work is just beautiful on the tree. I see one thing here. I happen to have these in a tree at my house. What can you tell me? Did they actually use these for decoration?
Well, we can only guess that it is from a tree right outside here.
Yeah.
But they would have picked up anything that felt that they could make into a decoration. So we can guess that they would have taken that. The other thing that the Victorians really enjoyed was gilding. Now, these are painted gold, of course, but they would have used a gold leaf. And these two are from a poppy plant, and this is from a lily.
Oh.
And we spray painted them gold, but they would have used real gold in order to keep the shine and make something a special ornament for their tree.
And of course, different types of paper ornaments, and you have a wax ornament there.
The wax was very early on. The Paradise play, or that started the whole tree idea. And around that time, there were markets would be all over Germany. This kind of a decoration might have been a souvenir that the people could have bought at the market and then taken home to decorate their tree. So this is made out of beeswax.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? And then, of course, feathers and pine cones, all
Right.
natural
Yeah,
things,
oh, they
too.
love nature, right? Anything of flowers or plants and gardening was very special to the Victorian people. They really liked nature. So said if they found things out as on their walks, they would have brought that back. You know, even the dried flowers too, of course, would have been used as a decoration.
Wonderful. Well, I thank you so much, Chris, for sharing with us the history of the tree and in the 19th century and even other times because the whole history of it. It's fascinating. It's beautiful. I thank you so much.
Well, you're very welcome.
Maybe this will give some people ideas on how they can decorate their tree in a more 19th century way. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wasn't Chris fantastic? She was so knowledgeable. I just want to thank all of the staff at Genesee Country Village and Museum. Oh, they are fantastic. Wait till you see all of them in the rest of the videos that I have coming. Thanks to the staff at Genesee Country Village and Museum. This is the first video in a 3-part series on Yuletide in the country. I can't wait for you to see parts 2 and 3. So subscribe so you make sure you get notified when those 2 videos come out. And in case you didn't know, creating a YouTube account and subscribing is all free. Yeah, I love free things in life. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, I'll be sure to put notifications there too. So until next time, I'll see you soon.